Hearty welcome to my video presentation. Myself, Dr. Reshmi, is working as Assistant Professor in the PG and Research Department of English, MES Asmapi College, Kodungalur, Kerala. My video presentation is on the course title Ability Enhancement Course. And the paper that I have chosen for my presentation is English Language Skills for Literature. The specific work that I have selected for my presentation is all about My Immigration Story by Tanley. So this is a prescribed work for all students studying BA English Honours under the University of Calicut. Before moving deep into the prescribed work that is Stanley's My Immigration Story, let me share few aspects related to immigration. So immigration is referred to as an international movement of people to a particular place. And we call this place as a destination country. They have particular purposes for behind why they move to such a destination country. So in this regard, we cannot call all the tourists or the other persons who temporarily move from one's native place to the foreign location as immigrants. So immigration is it's a just like a international migration with the purpose of permanent settlement. And some other terms that we can see in this context include migrant, immigrant, and emigrant. So, migrant is a person who moves from one's native place to another, maybe in search of work or a better living condition. It can be regional migration, it can be national migration, or it can even be international migration. So the time we decide to move from our country or to leave our country, that is the stage of emigration. So, and once we reach the new place and we become the part of the new place, then that process is called immigration. So a migrant is different from immigrant and emigrant. Similarly, an immigrant is different from migrant and immigrant. So this slide also tells in detail about the minute differences that exist between immigration versus emigration. Let us see. Immigration. Immigration is the act of entering a foreign country, often for permanent residency. Here, permanent residency or permanent settlement matters. Whereas in immigration, it's the process of leaving one's own country. Here we haven't reached the foreign country, but we leave our native country with the plan to move towards the foreign country. So immigration is the process of entering the foreign country, whereas emigration is the process of leaving the home country. And thus, immigration can be described as a process involving movement into a different country. The country is totally different from our native place, whereas emigration is the movement out of the home country. So, which process takes place first? Emigration is followed by immigration. So I hope that the process like immigration, immigration, migration, everything is now clear to you. Yes. So coming back to Tan Lee's My Immigration Story, here I have given the tagline, Tan Lee is a woman who made a difference in others' lives. Yes, so she is not an ordinary woman. When we go through her autobiographical reflections, her autobiographical writings, it is clear that she is an extraordinary woman and she could easily make a change, a difference in others' lives. And she has become the source and inspiration for many people, especially among the community of immigrants. So Jan Lee is basically, she has her roots in South Vietnam. She's a native of South Vietnam. Until the age of 4, she lived in South Vietnam. But now she is a resident of San Francisco. So can we connect the word immigrant over here? Yes, of course. Stanley is now an immigrant living in San Francisco with her roots in South Vietnam. And to say more about her personal life, uh, she uh, her journey from South Vietnam to San Francisco was not at all filled with comforting destinations, or not at all occupied with the comfort zones. She faced a lot of hurdles, obstacles, and challenges. So was her life filled with adversities and hardships. So before moving to San Francisco, she stayed in Australia. So directly from Vietnam, she emigrated to Australia, and she became an immigrant in Australia. And finally to San Francisco, which is a place in United States. So in this context, we can see that Tan Lee has moved from Vietnam to two other places. One is Australia, and the other one is San Francisco in United States. So she lived in Australia as a refugee. And who is this refugee? A refugee is a term designated to a person who has to flee, move away from one's own home country uh, out of what compulsion. It's not a voluntary movement. We do not call the voluntary movement of people as or we will never give the term refugee for such people who move from one's native place to another. So refugee crisis or refugee situation may occur at times of war. The war can be civil war or the war between two countries. So this is the case of Tanvi as well. She is forcibly migrated um, from Vietnam to Australia, and she remembers these days of the refugee days as the days of seclusion and isolation. As it is clear that the refugees, as soon as they reach a new place, they will be forced to stay in a refugee camp, and from the refugee camp, she moved to a place, a new settlement. So the two important aspects that immediately comes to her mind are those of seclusion and isolation. How she and her family members are secluded and isolated at the refugee camp and throughout her life in Australia, just because of the reason that she is a migrant. She is an immigrant. She has her roots in Vietnam. But amidst these differences and challenges, she completed her education and she secured a graduate degree in law from Australian University. And it's with much pride that she introduces before the readers two great family figures who acted as great inspiring fellows in her personal life. These two figures are our mother and her grandmother.